FTK reports the file total editing to 1 day, 8 hours, 1 minute, 0 seconds, which coincides with the difference between the date for created and last printed we find in Word. This indicates that the clock is manipulated since one in a normal case where a document is opened and changed, edited consecutively, the FTK would report total editing time reflecting the last editing time, not the difference between last edited and created. So the previous example of editing time, there was an inconsistency, there was a difference, so that was a finding. Here it's the same, and this is also a finding. Do you have a comment to what we are reading here?
I believe the information regarding editing time might reflect in the same way that it did on the other document, as far as my previous explanation regarding the non-use of systems or sleeping or hibernation modes.
In general, how reliable is editing time in digital forensics when you're looking at the Word documents?
After the investigation we did in regards to these documents, depending on the operating system, I am not entirely sure if I can now always trust the editing time. I would have to carefully check the environments and replicate the situation to be able to have any certainty of the editing times.
I think we do just one or two more, and we're on 32, attachment 32, so we'll look also at the issue related to double spacing and so on page 1221. Well, 21, it says description, attachment 32 doc. It's the same we have looked at. We can go to 1220, the next page. On innholdsanalyse 2, the content analysis 2, on the last section. There are difference in margins. It also says that with the exception of chapters 1 and 12, KPMG observes that attachment 32.doc and Bitcoin Expert Word docx have 32 exact identical double spacings in the chapters 2 to 11. An example on this is shown underneath, and there's a picture. Were you able to replicate this kind of a finding when you did your analysis?
In this case, we followed the instructions stated on the KPMG reports when converting a document from PDF into a Word format, which should, for their report stated, replicate this result of the spacings in certain spaces. But as is stated in the BDO report, I was unable to replicate this.
And if we go to 1232, there is...
You were unable to replicate any double spacing differences or the number that KPMG has taken?
The screenshot which I used as a reference from the KPMG reports, it may be one page down, the actual screenshot of that. I checked that section of text specifically. Also have a screenshot of that in the BDO report. When I replicated it, tried to replicate it, I did not get any of the double spacings in that section.
Why do you think it is? Why do you get different results?
I really don't know. I had, it seemed like several very simple steps, and I tried them on both a current version of operating system and software, and in the 2008 simulated environment we created, and in neither environment I could get that result, so I'm not sure.
Okay, then to 1232. This is on source code files. It's about attachments 47 and 75, observation, the file to text file, with version comments related to the release of the source code. One question here. We've been talking about Word documents, which have lots of metadata. We've also been talking about source code and text files. In my experience, if I write something, just a sentence in a Word document and save it, That's a pretty large file compared to just a notepad.txt. That's a very small file. Can you say why?
Why the text file with the same text is a lot smaller than a Microsoft Word file. Yeah, a Microsoft Word file has a lot of additional information in it in regards to how it needs to show these fonts and utilize them. So it'll have information in there of size, boldness, all kinds of information about how the information needs to be shown. And for Microsoft Word to be able to function with it, something like a notepad file is just the text in a direct. If you look at it in computer in hexadecimal code, it's just the text. There's no additional information needed to for running in any more complicated software.
And for this file, or these two files, there are version comments related to the source code. And there's a reference, changed text from min GW GCC 345 to min GW 344.
Yes, I see it.
And the comment is KPMG cannot see that there was a version 344 of this file on the official pages of min GW GCC. Do you have a comment to that?
Yes, we were aware of this in the reports. We also tried to identify that version of the software. We were not able to find it on the official site either, or were able to find it as a whole, but we have found, or seen, I should say, references to it online in several help forums. So
one finding, or is this discussed in different places that they're using this 344 prior to the official launch?
I don't know if it was prior to the official launch, but we do see in a representative period of time that there are people on the internet who referred to this version of min GW 3.4.4. So usually in combination with Sigwin. So we do see that there are references to this version online.
Is it normal or not normal for, especially in open source and coding, to have access to files which are not officially released or only released in a beta version or a testing version?
Yes, that is fairly common.
I have no further questions.
I think we'll just start with page 1171, the A bundle. Ser meg i e-posten.
Ja. Hva sa du? 1171?
Yeah. So when we're back to this editing time question.
Yes.
And I understand from your testimony that you said that it's possible that if you open a Word document and put the computer in hibernation, then the complete hibernation period would be calculated as part of the editing time. That's correct, right?
In Windows XP.
Yeah. But if you look at the editing time here, it's 21 days, 23 hours, and 56 minutes, which is 3 minutes longer than the created and last changed date. Is that possible with hibernation?
I don't know. That is, I did not test for variables that could increase the editing time beyond the written dates and times from creation and modification. I didn't test for that.
Okay. So according to your testing, the hibernation wouldn't account for the...
I don't know. I didn't check.
But could you hibernate the computer longer than from the date the document is created than to last changed? Because the last change would be the save time.
Yes, it would. So theoretically, no. But I haven't checked for it, but theoretically, no, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. So then BDO has, there's two options here, according to you. One is the, or at least according to the BDO report, one is that the clock has been manipulated, and the other is that the computer has been in hibernation, but the hibernation part don't really account for the metadata that we see here.
Not the hibernation part, but I should emphasize I haven't tested any other information in regards to editing time.
And you said, I think it was a question regarding that the documents that we look at here, at least allegedly, are quite old. And you said a lot of things can happen with them. People can open them and store over the years. I think you said something like that.
Something to that account, yes.
And that would imply that people are doing something actively with the documents, correct? If
Yes.
if they're just stored somewhere.
That I was implying that people actively did something with the file, yes, in that hypothetical. That wasn't specifically in reference to this file. I was giving a hypothetical in reference to older files.
Yeah, I understand. I'm
Okay.
just, yeah. But the files themselves, just by being old, you don't lose their metadata or something.
Not if nothing happens to them. I cannot exclude the possibility of automated processes on PCs otherwise affecting the integrity of a file. But in theory, they should remain the same. But I can't exclude that other programs, my colleague, I believe, also mentioned antiviruses that sometimes utilize files to check for virus information could cause change. So I remain open that in theory it shouldn't change, but it is possible that it could.
Okay. And then if we go to page 1386, I think, of in the bundle. Sorry, it's 1385. I think when asked, there's a difference in the hash of the SSRN document.
Yes.
On the one documents that you investigated and the ones that the KPMG investigated.
Yes.
I think you said in your testimony that the most likely reason for that, in your opinion, is that something has happened to the file after KPMG downloaded it. Is that the correct interpretation?
I stated that both the possibilities that were mentioned of changing on the server or afterwards were plausible, but in my opinion, it is more plausible that something happened between the downloading of a document and someone taking a hash of the documents.
Okay. But in the report, BDO has, it says in the last paragraph there that you have actually discovered that there are different versions of the document available through the Wayback Machine.
Yes, correct.
And those earlier versions, or that earlier version that you have been able to figure, that has a different hash, right?
Correct.
And would that imply that SSRN makes changes to the files on their server?
So the documents, the additional document from the Wayback Machine that we specified in our report was a very early version, as far as I can tell, of that document. It was even referred to a Poseidon server. I believe that might be the version that gets uploaded by an author to something like SRN for review before they have a final version of the document submitted. But this is all speculative on my part. There was information such as the text on the bottom of the pages of that earlier version that I retrieved from the Wayback Machine that wasn't present on the ones that I downloaded from the SSRN source as referenced by KPMG. So I knew the content was also different. That was also very visible when opening the documents. So that the hash is different there was not surprising to me.
And on page 1387 of the report, the first and second bullet point under the summary, BDO says that, I'm just reading the last 3 lines of the first bullet point. A possible explanation can be that different versions has been uploaded to the website, or that there have been made changes on the document potentially because of automated actions from SSRN. And the second bullet, it says, when archive.org is a third-party page that operates on trust basis, it is possible that the version of the document collected from archive.web